Are you okay with the truth? Are you man, woman, human, or spiritual enough to accept the truth? Let's find out. Welcome to The Swimming Pool with your host, Travis Bridges.
Good evening. Hey, everybody. How you doing? That would be me in 3, 2, 1. It's another Wednesday, and this is the first part of SWIM. SWIM. That is the acronym for Say What You Mean. I've got something interesting going on. You want to know what it is? Ooh, I just cut the music off because I want to tell you, but I'm going to crank it back up again. Ooh, no. What happened? Look at this. Look at this. Okay. Boy, I did something. That's all right, though. It's amazing, what's happening. Let's see if I can do this again. Let me start it again like this. All right, yeah, here we go. It's amazing. I remember when I first started this live streaming stuff, I used to be sitting at my computer like a whole hour in advance, just checking stuff and checking, and just to see how it would go. And I've gotten so familiar with it now that, I was in the other room doing something totally different until just a couple of minutes ago, and I just jumped in here, like my old radio days. I used to be outside in the hallway or something, and I would see the break coming up, and then I'll come in and I'll do what I do and then go, either take a phone call or something. That just means I'm getting comfortable. Hey, Kimberly. Hey, Tasha. Thank y'all so much. Listen, it's going to be short tonight, so I know how y'all like to sneak in, show your face and then get gone. But stick with me tonight, okay? I have something that I just got in a text message that I'm going to share with y'all. I didn't even have time to pipe it into my system, so I'm just going to stick my phone up to my microphone. I've got a lot of changes going on. As you can see, my room is starting to change again, and I'm just going with the flow, and that's a good thing. So I'm going to pot this down, and I'm going to share something with you. Now, I have a brand new biological granddaughter, but I've got a whole bunch of adopted kids. But my grandson is playing the saxophone, and I just got a message that I want to share with y'all, and now I can't find it, but I'm going to pull it up. Oh, is this it? Yeah, here it is. I'm going to let y'all hear how he's doing. And let me tell you, maybe 3 years ago, I remember I flew up, and for his birthday, I brought him his very first saxophone, and I gave him a 3-hour powwow lesson, on the saxophone. And to hear him a few years later is just amazing. We've done a couple of video chats, just to, bring him up to speed. And whenever he calls me, we'll do more. But I want to share with y'all, and I'm sorry I can't pipe it in for good quality. I'm going to share with you this, and then I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to come back with my guest. And we're talking tonight about, are you running? If you are running, what are you running from? And what are you running to? I shared a little bit of it last time we were here, but I'm going to actually have my guest talk about it tonight. So let me let you hear this. I'm going to take a short break, and then I'll be right back. Okay? So hang in there. Let's see. Here we go. Listen to this, y'all. This is my phone. I've got to put it up to the phone so you can hear. Let me make sure it's up loud. Listen to this. Oh my goodness, there's some tears in my eyes. Just that sound. And of course, his mother tells me, why does he sound muffled? I guess she doesn't understand like I understand. Well, he doesn't sound muffled. I know that sound. I remember that sound. I remember having that exact same sound myself, and many other of my saxophone colleagues. We can tell that sound, and there's definitely potential in there. So I just speak blessings and knowledge and information over his life now as he continue. He also plays the clarinet, and he's just a good kid all around. So Coy, Keep up the good work, okay? I'm so proud of you. I'm going to take a little break, and I'll be right back with my guest, and we're going to talk about running. Okay, I'll be right back.
Your greatest strength. Challenges, adversity, and failure is where we find the greatest victories. Don't be discouraged by the look and feel of any loss, as our greatest strength is discovered in our worst weakness. People can judge you by what they see based on how they look at you. It's usually motivated by how they feel about themselves, and if it's negative, you'll never escape their thoughts. You can show them who you are by how you look at what's on the inside of you, which is motivated by how you feel about yourself. If it's positive, you are already free of their thoughts. An effective encounter with a mirror will always find truth. Time is not only money. Time is more change than money. Until we dig deep inside and face the true potential of ourselves, not even yourself can experience the truth of the fullness of your own destiny. The why of how we feel is the pathway to managing what we feel, and where we search to find it is the land of the free of who we find in ourselves. Repeat that 7 times. Don't be discouraged by the look and feel of any loss, as our greatest strength is discovered in our worst weakness. Hope activates faith. Dig deep and keep moving. Mighty Horn Music. Smooth jazz, top 40, R&B, inspirationals, and more. Live from the Hollywood Home Studio. Like, share, subscribe. And thanks for tuning in. Good evening and welcome to another edition of The Swimming Pool. I am your host, Travis Bridges, and it is Wednesday. That is when we do SWIM, S-W-Y-M. That is the acronym for Say What You Mean. I have had an interesting week, and now it's Wednesday. This is called self-therapy. Initially started out with suffering in silence. Then it went to why are you running? And it's just now, are you running? And my guest commented on it, and we're going to talk about it. So I'm going to go to the phone now, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about talking in regards to that writing that I wrote. So TravisBridges2 at AOL.com is how you can reach me.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well, and you?
I'm not bad at all. I meant to tell you before I got you on the phone to make sure you're either holding the phone or that you have a really good earpiece, because a speakerphone will not work and it'll sound terrible. So, are
Oh,
you
it
in a
sounds
place where
terrible
you
now.
say it again?
It sounds terrible now.
It doesn't sound terrible. It just doesn't sound as good as it could be. Are you on speaker or are you on a regular phone?
I'm on speaker.
Yeah, well, we'll try to deal with it. Can you make sure you're no more than a foot away from the microphone? Is that possible?
No problem.
Okay, just stay close to the microphone and we'll make it work. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear my good friend. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate
Absolutely.
you.
Now, the word said to make a joyful noise. It didn't say it needed to sound a certain way. So all I was
Right.
doing was trying to bring a little love into the room. But thank you for agreeing to be a part of my live stream. And let me just tell you what it's about. I just mentioned it before, I got you on the phone. It's just talk about talking. We are going to start off with a subject and or a topic, and then we're just going to move. I promise you, in less than a half hour from the time I start, I'm going to let you go. Are you okay with that? You have that time to give me?
That's fine.
Okay, awesome. Now, with that being said, you tell me whenever I forwarded my information to you that I just wanted to share, because writing to me is therapy. Doing my live stream on Wednesday night is therapy. Just so happen I have the technical background to know how to document it, and then I just share it for whoever may be willing to partake. So I'm not here for an audience. If I get one, that's great. But it's just therapy for me. So when I write things that are in my mind or they're in my heart and I share it, it's just like baking a plate of cookies and then, passing them out. So you received that earlier this morning and you shared a thought with me. I want you to share with me and my audience what your thought was.
At first, I thought it was good writing, and you need to put this in a book or somewhere where other people can read it because it may help their situation. And then I think about the people who suffer in silence. And most people don't have an avenue of letting other people know what is going on with them. And that really touched my heart because I've been in contact with people, and even in domestic abuse, you see people and they're afraid to report the violators because of financial situation and their fear of the repercussion of violence, So it really touched me this morning, and I just wish that there is more that I can do. Women stays in certain situations where they're being abused, their kids are being abused, and they stay in these relationships, and because they have nowhere else to turn. Sometimes the legal system is no help. And I think about sometimes children when they're being molested by, let's say the mother has a boyfriend, and they're afraid to tell their mother what the boyfriend is doing to them, or even their husband or their own father is doing to them, because the mother in turn, is abusing that child as well.
And just so that we are not, so partial, there are little boys who also get abused, not necessarily by somebody's girlfriend, but it definitely does go both ways. So I don't want to stay too far on one side, but the point is people are in different situations, whether it's domestic abuse or just sometimes it happens on jobs. I mentioned in the writing that it happens, in the workplace. There are cliques that happen where people are ousted, so to speak, or just kind of, discriminated against. And I'm going to say this, and this is probably going to get me in some trouble, and I'm just going to pray to God that it doesn't. The recent story in the news, about the shooting, I'm not going to call any names, but the young kid was was sentenced, and the trial was publicized. It was a high profile case, and people were saying, well, why didn't he get this, or why didn't he get that? Why didn't this happen or that happen? In my mind, I didn't pay attention to the details of the trial, but I was hearing bits and pieces, and I know enough about it to at least pray about it. And as he was going through that, and I would pass by the TV and I would see it, I was thinking in my heart, yeah, that's really bad what happened. And I'm not even going to say but. However, there was a part of me that felt a little compassion for the kid, for what he may have been going through that got him to that point. I'm not condoning it. I'm not giving it any place at all. I thought it was terrible, and I wished it didn't happen. And my hearts and prayers goes out to those affected. But it was hard for me to have, anger and hate towards the person. No, I don't like what happened. But, when people go through that, they reach a certain point where, there's no return. And I guess as a community, we've got to do better to capture that before it gets out of hand. We make a joke about someone, or we pick on someone, or we bully someone for whatever reason. We don't know how they're going to how it's going to affect them. So I kind of, lost my train of thought, in saying that many of those cases, many people never get to tell their side of the story. And, as you mentioned, even in the legal system, sometimes people are, things happen to people, and then the truth later comes out, and then, there's a slap on the wrist, or, my favorite, the Central Park Five, they spent years in prison, and yeah, they got some money, but that's not what they deserve. It's just wasn't right. So I was just speaking to that. So what are some of your other thoughts about that? Because I want to know, when I put my writing out there, people, when they cook a meal, they want to know, was it too salty? Was it too sweet? Was the balance of the chocolate chips, consistent with the rest of the dough? What else did you get from that? Please share.
Well, I'm also concerned about the elderly. I noticed you had mentioned something about that in your writing. One day I wish I can have a place to just love on these elderly. They have given so much in their lives to us and paved the way for us. And when they get to the stage where they're no longer able to take care of themselves, sometimes we just throw them in the nursing homes, or they're at home and you have people who come to take care of them who are not really taking care of them. They're just abusing the elderly. And that's something that is very close to my heart right now, because my parents are elderly. And I think more needs to be done. They live in fear every day because of the people who should be taking care of them are not taking care of them. And sometimes it goes unnoticed because their own children don't even take time to check on them and see how they're doing. They just know that they're paying someone to take care of them, and that's it. And then the legal system don't do much about it because they're in fear of reporting these people. Oh my God.
I know, and I feel your passion. And we're talking about children, and we're talking about the elderly. I'm just going to, split the hair on the other side and talk about, what about grown people? You don't hear too much about men, particularly in relationships, that go through, spousal abuse, physical abuse, because there are some women that will take advantage of men that will not fight back or hit back, or that are embarrassed to talk about, the abuse that men go through, even with the legal system, of how sometimes it's not balanced and necessarily in favor of men. So we're covering the grounds of the children, the elderly, and, spouses in general, but particularly men who are embarrassed that their wives are abusing them in some kind of way. Or, it doesn't have to be physical. Sometimes, women have a way of being very sharp with their
Hello?
tongue. Did I lose you?
Hello?
Oh no.
Hello?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Travis, you cut out.
Okay.
Hello?
No, I'm still here.
You cut out for a second.
I know, but are you
But
back with me now?
yes, I am.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I was just on my rant about all the different aspects of how this happens and people are not able to talk about it, or they don't necessarily get the support. And the people who are the perpetrators of this, they really take advantage of it.
Well, most men are afraid to report situations like that where they're being abused, because I know I've had situations where, and I can't go into details, but I've had situations where men call in to report situation with women abusing them. And the first thing people will say is, "Oh, you're a punk," or whatever. But it happens. This is something that really happens. And I encourage men, if a woman put their hands on you, call the police. Because if it was in reverse, they would call the police, and guess who is going to jail?
And here's something else too. It's not always, and I like to use always conveniently, I guess. It's not necessarily for a man that he's physically being abused. There's a way that, women speak more than men anyway, according to statistics. A man cannot out-talk a woman. And sometimes, when a woman is headstrong, they do things that really get men in positions to where, okay, I can't say anything, and I definitely can't hit her, or I can't do this. So it's like, divorces are, I think, greater than 75% of divorces are filed by women. But by the time a man files a divorce, you don't hear the stories behind why men decide, okay, I'm going to be the initiator of this. But those stories really go untold. And, men sometimes are just the bigger people to keep their mouth closed and don't, talk about it unless they're forced to. So anyway, I wrote that caption, and I just decided to share, just like I do. I write almost every day. And it's therapy for me. I don't know where it came from. I'm just a poor kid from the projects of the Carolinas. And I never thought I would be, a writer, because it's not something I did as a child. I thought a lot, but now I'm able to put my words together and put them in, sentences, and be able to express them in ways that they, expose, some of my thoughts. And I probably will add this. My book that I've been writing, it's still on hold. I'm still shopping for publishing, or just putting it on hold for a while. I have other areas in my book that are similar to this, but I just like to write, and I'm flattered that you thought enough of it to say something to me, and thank you for sharing your thoughts about it. I just like to write, that's all.
Yeah, and I enjoy reading it. And, like chapters in your life, you never know what the other chapter will be until you get to that point, until you close one chapter.
Right.
So maybe that's your revelation now, a writer.
Yeah, and I don't mind, not just writing because I can write, but I think expressing myself too, because sometimes, let me just go ahead and put myself out there. I get accused of being blunt, or being, I don't know, I was called regimented at one time. My yes is yes and my no is no. And I mean what I say, and I say what I mean most of the times. And it doesn't always come out as nice. And if I get the opportunity to apologize, I'll do it. But when I write, I can write what I really mean and not necessarily what I'm feeling. So it's therapeutic in being able to get some things out of me. I used to go to the gym, but that's another story. But writing has become a passion, whether I expose it a lot. And I'm going to say 90% of the things that I write don't get exposed in any kind of way, in a book, or, on any social media platforms, or even amongst my friends that I just share thoughts with. I just keep it kind of sort of to myself. And maybe one day when I'm no longer here, maybe my beautiful granddaughter will say, "Look at what my granddaddy did." And maybe she'll be able to pull some inspiration from it. But again, thank you for not being offended. You did say that, it kind of made you sad, but then you explained that it wasn't sadness. It was just, the reality that those things happen. So again, thanks for sharing that.
No problem, and thank you.
Okay, well, this is
Therapy is very good sometimes.
Yeah. So tell me this: what do you do for therapy? I mean, other than work and just live your life, what is your go-to thing that you do when nobody's around that you can do alone? That's therapeutic for you.
You know what? I listen to music, and I have some of yours in my playlist.
Awesome.
And
Thank you.
I listen to movies. Lately, my house has been renovated, so in between time, my TVs are off, so I just watch movies, African movies, on my computer,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I cook.
Okay.
Sometimes I just cook just to cook. That's a hobby of mine.
Okay.
So I cook, and I take the food into the office and share. And somebody call and they're hungry. Oh, I'm cooking. So
Well,
come
you
get some
shouldn't have
food.
told me that. So, what is your thing? What do you like to cook?
I cook whatever. I mostly cook island food, but I can cook anything.
Okay. All right.
So
Now, this is going to be, I just want to ask you this because these are the things that I can cook and I want to know if you can do them. So, tell me, do you even like liver and onion?
yes,
You do. Most people don't. And I'm not embarrassed because they say, oh, it's yucky. That's a organ. But yeah, I really like that. And that's one of the things that I know I can do. I learned that from my mother. How about like broiled salmon? Can you make salmon?
yes,
Are you good at it?
that's easy.
Oh, okay. So you say I've had some pretty bad salmon before. What about steak? Can you make a good steak?
I think so. I have no complaints so far. So
Okay. Well, anytime you want to have a cook-off between a good steak, a nice piece of salmon, and or some liver and onion, you let me know, and then we can let my audience come and do, the taste test. But I'll challenge you to at least those three. There are a few other things that I can burn on, but I won't go into it. But tell me, what is your specialty? What is your specialty in cooking?
you know, and it's crazy. I don't really have a specialty, but I do different stuff that people like. I just cook. I cook our spells. People like it.
Okay.
My conch salad, people love it.
Ooh.
So
Okay.
I just do what people like, not
Okay.
what I have a personal preference in.
Let me tell
I
you
just
what I
cook.
like. Tell me, can you make oxtails?
Yes.
Okay. What about fried conch? Can you do that?
Yes.
Okay. It's easy things. Those are easy things, right?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Well,
Put your eyes into those.
say it again.
I can close my eyes and do those things.
Okay. Last question on the cooking. We done went from, something heavy to cooking. Do you cook with a measuring cup or do you just feel it and you've done it enough to know
No.
how much to do?
Never with measuring cups, because that's the reason I don't like bacon. I leave bacon to my brother. I just cook. I'm from the country. I don't measure.
baking. I thought you said bacon.
Bacon,
I was
bacon.
like, why do you have to
Not
measure with
bacon.
bacon? Oh, no, I got it. Funny moment. Okay. Well, listen, I'll hold you to that one day, and maybe we can switch cooking menus or whatnot. Do you use a cookbook? That was the question I was thinking. Do you use
No, I don't.
You've never used a cookbook?
I've used cookbook in the past, but I don't use a cookbook.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, I'm going to go ahead and draw the line here. We were talking about the initial title of that writing was Suffering in Silence. Then it went from Suffering in Silence to Are You Running or Why Are You Running? And then now it's just Are You Running? And it's a question. And I shared it. It'll probably be a section or a version of that, in the book that I've been threatening y'all that I'm going to release. I promise you it's coming. I'm just working on some other stuff. But thank you again. And I'm going to wish you a happy birthday. Are you going to do anything special?
I think I'm going out to dinner this evening. People are always trying to feed me, and it's like, oh, I cook. Don't feed me.
Okay.
Do something different, but they want to feed me, so
All right. Well,
I'm grateful.
enjoy, and thanks again for sharing me with your time. And we're a little ahead of time, but I'm going to let you go. And when I log off, I'm going to call you back before you get back to your regular schedule.
I appreciate you.
I will. Thank you so much. I love you to no end.
You're welcome. Love you too.
All right. We'll talk soon. All right.
Okay.
Bye. There you have it, folks. That's my guest for this edition of SWYM. SWYM. That is the acronym for Say What You Mean. That's all I'm trying to do, is say what I mean. I'm this kind of guy who just so happens to be decent. It's not my own doing. I don't even have to work hard at it. There are a lot of things that come to my mind that I have to pull those strongholds down. But for the most part, I try to do as my mother taught me, and that's to be kind and considerate and respectful of other people. And don't get me wrong, if you cross me, you're going to get what's coming to you. And I'm no pushover by far, but I really believe in exhausting all measures before taking anything to the extreme, one way or the other. And I can do that in a nanosecond in time, in terms of moving throughout my life and throughout my day. On that note, thank you again for joining me. I really appreciate it. This is SWYM. I do it on Wednesday nights. Things are changing around me, and I'm just moving with the change, and I'm excited that I have control over most of those. And with that being said, till the next time, find somebody that you need to say I love you to. Don't just say it. Act like it, okay? And show it, and mean it. Good night. SWYM. Say what you mean. As much as this information is designed to bring awareness to how we listen, hear, and process, it is also a form of therapy. The little person inside of all of us needs to be heard. As adults, even listening to ourselves is a form of healing, strengthening, and growth. It's okay to speak, talk, express yourself, and be heard, even if you're the only listener. If our testimony does anything at all for anyone else, that makes the continued effort worth the time. Get the words out. You'll feel better, and that's a promise. Thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it.
Sometimes it seems like all the good times are gone. But you got to keep on searching. You got to keep on keeping on. Keep on keeping on. For example, take me standing right here today. I would not be here with you if I believed the things that the people say. You got to keep on searching. Keep on searching. Keep it on the cool side. Keep it on the cool side. Keep on